Hello friends, good evening and welcome to Super Coaching Regulatory Bodies by Testbook, and also welcome to the practice batch where we are discussing the most important MCQs from the ESI component of RBI Grade B as well as NABARD Grade A 2024 examination. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे RBI Grade B and NABARD Grade A दोनों से ही हम ESI component के we are discussing the most important MCQs, and that is based on the very important concepts and which are very important for the upcoming phase 2 of both NABARD Grade A as well as RBI Grade B phase 2 एग्जामिनेशन. सो एक एग्जाम आपका 19th को है, एक एग्जाम आपका 20th को है. सो बैक टू बैक एग्जाम्स हैं. सो दीज एमसीक्यूज, द कंसेप्ट दैट वी आर डिस्कसिंग इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एमसीक्यूज, they would be really relevant and helpful for you to crack the examination, to give your best in the examination. तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं डिस्कशन. सो यू नो द रूल दैट डिस्कशन वी स्टार्ट with the basically achievers question. So what is the meaning of achievers question? So at the end of every session we discuss an achiever question, and those who give the right answer of the achiever question, we show their name in the next session, right? So this is the achiever question of yesterday's session, that is the previous session. So question was, what is the primary tool in the RBI's monetary and credit policy? This was the question that I have given you as an achiever question. So options are repo rate, SLR, CRR, बैंक रेट एंड द मार्जिनल स्टैंडिंग फैसिलिटी. बताइए, व्हाट इज द प्राइमरी टूल इन द आरबीआई's monetary and credit policy, guys? So the right answer would be option number A, that is repo rate. So you have to remember, so whenever if they ask question in the examination that which of the tool is the primary tool of the RBI's monetary policy, so you have to remember it is the repo rate only. Repo rate is the primary tool of the RBI's monetary policy. Got it? Now moving ahead to the achievers slide. So this is completely blank today also because no one has given the right answer. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे guys do participate in the comment box so that I can show your name here. ठीक है, तो you can feel privileged, तो आपका नेम यहाँ पे हम दिखा सकें. So for that you have to give the right answer in the comment box. ठीक है, not in the live chat box. अभी जो क्वेश्चन हम डिस्कस करेंगे that answer of those question you have to attempt in the live chat box, but achievers question का जो आंसर है that you have to give in the comment box. And also in today's session at the end the last question will be achievers question. So अगर आपने उसका सही आंसर दिया, so your name would be displayed in the upcoming next session. ठीक है, चलिए. So question number first is of today's session, what is a reverse repo operation? This is the question, what is a reverse repo operation? So guys, it would be बेनिफिशियल फॉर यू इफ यू पार्टिसिपेट इन द सेशन. तभी मजा आएगा मुझे पढ़ाने में भी और आपको पढ़ने में भी. तो पार्टिसिपेट करिए सेशन में, लाइव चैट बॉक्स में करिए. गलत सही का मत सोचिए, ठीक है? जब आप गलतियां करेंगे तभी आप सीखेंगे. एंड द बेसिक पर्पस ऑफ दिस सेशन इज टू गिव यू सम नॉलेज एज वेल एज टू मेक यू टू कमिट द मिस्टेक्स. यहाँ पे मिस्टेक्स करिए, जितनी ज्यादा मिस्टेक्स आप यहाँ इन सेशंस में करेंगे उतनी ही कम मिस्टेक्स आप एक्चुअल एग्जाम में करेंगे. ठीक है जी, चलिए. सो व्हाट इज अ रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन? ऑप्शन नंबर ए इज व्हेन बैंक्स बोरो मनी from the Reserve Bank of India, when the government deposits money with the Reserve Bank of India, when the RBI borrows money from the government, when bank deposits their money with the RBI, or none of the above. So do let me know. I'm waiting for a reply in the live chat box. What do you think? What is the right answer of this question? साथ साथ में करते हैं, आप भी अटेम्प्ट करिए, हम फिर यहाँ पे सही उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन जो भी है, सही कंसेप्ट हम डिस्कस करते हैं. डू लेट मी नो गाइज. बताइए फ्रेंड्स, आई एम वेटिंग फॉर अ रिप्लाई. What do you think? What is reverse repo operation? So right answer would be option number D, that is when banks deposit their money with the RBI. So again, as we discussed in the case of repo, so there are two participants in the case of reverse repo also. That is, one is the Reserve Bank of India and another is the any commercial bank. We are taking the example of Punjab National Bank, right? So suppose Punjab National Bank is having extra cash, right? And they are not giving to the public, right? They are not lending that money. So if they are having the extra cash, in that case they will not earn anything on that cash, right? क्योंकि जब भी आप अपने अलमीरा में, अपने लॉकर में जब कैश रखते हो, so cash आपका मल्टीप्लाई नहीं होता. You do not earn any interest on that. Similarly, when banks are having excess cash, so they do not earn anything on that. So what they can do, they can deposit their money with the Reserve Bank of India, right? They can deposit the money with the Reserve Bank of India. So कैश का फ्लो कहां से? कमर्शियल बैंक से चला जाएगा आरबीआई के पास, राइट? सो यहाँ पे फ्री में तो करेंगे नहीं. अगर फ्री में करना होता तो दे वर कीपिंग विद देमसेल्व्स ओनली. तो यहाँ पे आरबीआई विल पे द इंटरेस्ट. ठीक है, तो आरबीआई विल पे द इंटरेस्ट हियर. ठीक है, और इंटरेस्ट के लिए इन्होंने यहाँ पे जो पैसा है वो आरबीआई के पास रखा हुआ है. एंड ऑल्सो आरबीआई बेसिकली यहाँ पे कोलेट्रल रखेगी. ठीक है, कोलेट्रल वुड बी, क्यों? क्योंकि रेपो ऑपरेशन में कोलेट्रल कौन रखता था? रेपो ऑपरेशन में कोलेट्रल रखते थे कमर्शियल बैंक्स. जो पैसा रख रहे, जो यहाँ पे बेसिकली लोन ले रहे थे आरबीआई से, ठीक है, तो कोलेट्रल जो रखा जा रहा था रेपो ऑपरेशन वो आरबीआई के पास रखा रहा था, एंड सिंस नाउ मनी इज being deposited with the Reserve Bank of India, so it is the time, it is the turn of Reserve Bank of India to keep the collateral with the commercial bank whose money RBI is accepting, right? And that is why D would be the right answer here. So question number first is in a explanation number first is in a reverse repo operation, banks deposit their surplus funds, ठीक है, banks deposit their surplus funds with the Reserve Bank of India in exchange for earning interest. This is a monetary policy tool used by the RBI to manage liquidity in the banking system, and by conducting reverse repo operation, the RBI can absorb excess liquidity from the market, which helps in controlling inflation and maintaining financial stability. This contrasts with the repo operation where the RBI provides funds to banks against collateral, thus injecting liquidity into the system. So in the case of repo operation, what happens? The flow of the cash is from the Reserve Bank of India to the commercial banks, but in case of reverse repo operation, the flow of the cash is from the commercial banks to the Reserve Bank of India, right? चलिए, moving on to the question number second, what is the interest rate paid by the RBI to banks when they deposit their money with the Reserve Bank called? ठीक है, तो जो भी यहाँ पे इंटरेस्ट जो आरबीआई पे करती है, जो आरबीआई यहाँ पे पे करती है इंटरेस्ट रेट जब उसके पास कैश रखते हैं कमर्शियल बैंक, तो उस इंटरेस्ट रेट को हम क्या बोलते हैं? सो व्हाट इज द इंटरेस्ट रेट पेड बाय द आरबीआई टू बैंक्स व्हेन दे डिपॉजिट देयर मनी विद द आरबीआई? ऑप्शंस आर रेपो रेट, डिस्काउंट रेट, प्राइम रेट, रिवर्स रेपो रेट और लेंडिंग रेट. फ्रेंड्स पार्टिसिपेट करिए प्लीज, डू लेट मी नो, बताइए तभी मजा आएगा यहाँ पे. सो जब यहाँ पे अपना जो कैश है, जो अपना सरप्लस फंड है, कमर्शियल बैंक्स व्हेन दे आर कीपिंग दैट एक्स्ट्रा कैश, दैट liquidity with the Reserve Bank of India, so Reserve Bank of India is giving interest in return, right? So what is that interest called? So that interest is called as the reverse repo rate. क्योंकि reverse repo operation what we are doing, what banks are doing, basically they are depositing their surplus fund with the Reserve Bank of India, and in turn Reserve Bank of India is giving them interest, right? And that interest is known as reverse repo rate. Why? Because that is a part of reverse repo operation, and that is why it is known as reverse repo rate. Got it? If I give you the explanation here, so you can read, the reverse repo rate is the interest rate at which the Reserve Bank of India borrows money from commercial banks within the country. It is an important monetary policy tool used by the RBI to control liquidity in the banking system. When banks deposit their excess funds with the RBI, they earn interest at the reverse repo rate. The rate influences the amount of funds banks are willing to hold with the RBI, thereby helping to manage inflation and stabilize the economy. The repo rate, on the other hand, is the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks. So repo rate क्या होता है? When RBI, the interest rate at which RBI lends to the commercial bank. So वो interest rate क्या होता है? Repo rate होता है, right? And what is the reverse repo rate? The money that RBI is accepting from the commercial banks, the interest that RBI is paying against that deposit. So that interest rate is known as basically reverse repo rate. Question number 3 is here. Which of the following best describes the relationship between repo and reverse repo operations? बताइए. So options are, both operations aim to increase liquidity in the banking system. Repo operation involves borrowing from the RBI, while reverse repo operation involves banks lending to the Reserve Bank of India. But both operations are exclusively used for managing foreign exchange reserves. Repo operation involves the RBI depositing money with the banks, while reverse repo operation involve the RBI borrowing from banks. So what is the right answer, guys? बताइए. Do let me know, what do you think, what can be the right answer? We are discussing about the relationship between the repo and the reverse repo operation. So what do you think, what can be the right answer of this question? So right answer would be option number B here. You know very well, under the repo operation, it involves bank borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India. So whenever banks face liquidity crunch, they can approach to the Reserve Bank of India for the loan, and Reserve Bank of India gives them loan basically, right? And against the interest rate. So RBI gives the loan and RBI charges the interest, right? So that interest is known as repo rate. Similarly, when banks are having surplus funds, so what they do basically, if they are not lending to the public, they are depositing the money with the Reserve Bank of India for the sake of interest, right? So in return, RBI will give the interest to the commercial banks, those who are depositing money, right? So similarly, यहाँ पे repo operations involve bank borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India, because in the repo operation, banks borrow money from the Reserve Bank of India, while in the reverse repo rate involves bank lending to the RBI. तो ऐसा बोला जाता है that banks are lending to the Reserve Bank of India as a part of reverse repo operation, but you know very well, no bank, no commercial bank can lend to the Reserve Bank of India, right? So यहाँ पे लैंडिंग जो है बेसिकली वो नहीं हो रही है, दिस इज बेसिकली द डिपॉजिटिंग ऑफ सरप्लस फंड। बट ऐसा कहा जाता है कि यहाँ पे बैंक्स जो है वो आरबीआई को लोन दे रहे हैं, बट दैट इज टेक्निकली इनकरेक्ट, लेकिन ऐसा कहा जाता है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई दिस वुड बी द राइट आंसर हियर। सो रेपो एंड रिवर्स रेपो operations are monetary policy tools used by the Reserve Bank of India to manage liquidity in the banking system and control short term interest rates. क्वेश्चन नंबर फोर्थ, व्हाट इज द प्राइमरी इफेक्ट ऑफ अ रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन ऑन द बैंकिंग सिस्टम? बताइए, व्हाट इज द प्राइमरी इफेक्ट ऑफ द रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन ऑन द बैंकिंग सिस्टम? ऑप्शंस आर, इट इंक्रीजेस द लिक्विडिटी इन द सिस्टम, it absorbs the liquidity in the system, it has no impact on the liquidity in the system, it creates more money in circulation, it reduces the interest rates in the system. What do you think, what can be the right answer here? So guys, we are talking about the primary effect of a reverse repo operation on the banking system. ठीक है, बताइए. So right answer would be option number B, that is it absorbs the liquidity in the system. Why this is so? क्योंकि remember the flow of the cash, right? So under the reverse repo operation, flow of the cash is from the commercial bank to Reserve Bank of India, right? So I told you basically under the reverse repo operation, under the reverse repo, one participant is Reserve Bank of India, another is Punjab National Bank. So when Punjab National Bank is having surplus funds, so they will deposit that money with the Reserve Bank of India, right? For having the interest, so they can earn interest from the Reserve Bank of India. बट वेन दे आर डिपॉजिटिंग देयर मनी विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, विच मीन्स यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, यहाँ पे जो एक्सेस लिक्विडिटी है दैट इज बीइंग एब्जॉर्ब्ड बाय द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, राइट? वॉट एवर फंड्स दे हैव, राइट नाउ दे आर गिविंग टू द, दे आर डिपॉजिटिंग विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, विच मीन्स यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, यहाँ पे लिक्विडिटी जो है वो एब्जॉर्ब की जा रही है. गॉट इट? एंड दैट इज वाई इट इज टोल्ड कि यहाँ पे बेसिकली एज अ पार्ट ऑफ रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन देयर इज एन एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ लिक्विडिटी इन द सिस्टम. ठीक है जी. So reverse repo operation is a monetary policy tools used by the Reserve Bank of India to manage liquidity in the banking system. When the RBI conducts a reverse repo operation, it borrows money from the commercial banks and offers them an interest rate in return. By doing this, the RBI effectively absorb excess funds from the banking system. ठीक है, तो by providing more interest, by providing higher interest, what is RBI doing? RBI is absorbing the money from the banking system. ठीक है. Then further reducing the amount of money available for banks to lend or invest. This helps to control inflation and stabilize the economy by decreasing the liquidity in the market. Now question number 5 is what type of collateral is used in repo and reverse repo operation? As I told you, basically in both repo and reverse repo operation, these all are the collateralized lending, right? So collateralized lending होती है यहाँ पर, ठीक है. स्पेलिंग गलत हो गई आई थिंक. कोलेटरलाइज्ड लेंडिंग और कोलेटरलाइज्ड डिपॉजिट होता है बेसिकली यहाँ पर. सो व्हाट इज द थिंग दैट इज बीइंग केप्ट एज अ कोलेटरल अंडर बोथ रेपो एंड रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशंस? सो कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड्स, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स, गोल्ड रिजर्व्स, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सिक्योरिटीज और कमर्शियल पेपर. बताइए गाइस, कौन सी चीज को यहाँ पे कोलेटरल रखा जाता है? सो राइट आंसर इज ऑप्शन नंबर डी, दैट इज गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सिक्योरिटीज. तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया सिक्योरिटीज को बेसिकली यहाँ पे कोलेटरल रखा जाता है अंडर द रेपो एंड द रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन. ठीक है, रेपो एंड रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन में यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की सिक्योरिटी जो होती है उसको बेसिकली यहाँ पे एज अ कोलेटरल रखा जाता है. दिस यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. Now, explanation is in both repo, that is repurchase agreement, and reverse repo, reverse repurchase agreement operations. The collateral used is typically government of India securities, जिसको हम GSEX भी बोलते हैं. This means that when commercial banks engage in these transactions with the Reserve Bank of India, they either sell or buy back government securities. ठीक है जी. Question number 6 is what does a high रिवर्स रेपो रेट इम्प्लाई फॉर बैंक्स? अगर हाई रिवर्स रेपो रेट है इकोनॉमी में, ठीक है, सो बेसिकली बैंक्स के लिए वो क्या मीनिंग होता है उसका? ऑप्शंस आर, बैंक्स विल ओनली लेंड मनी टू बोरोवर्स, बैंक्स विल ओनली पार्क देयर मनी विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, बैंक्स विल नॉट पार्क देयर मनी विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, बैंक्स में आइदर पार्क देयर मनी विद आरबीआई और लेंड एट अ हायर रेट टू बोरोवर्स, और बैंक्स विल रिड्यूस देयर ओवरऑल लेंडिंग एक्टिविटीज. डू लेट मी नो गाइस, बताइए what does a high repo rate imply for banks? So right answer would be option number D here, that is banks may either park their money with the Reserve Bank of India or lend at a higher rate to borrowers. ठीक है, अगर यहाँ पे मान लीजिए रिवर्स रेपो रेट हाई है, ठीक है, रिवर्स रेपो रेट इज हाई, फॉर एग्जांपल रिवर्स रेपो रेट इज 6%, आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग एन एग्जांपल, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे बैंक्स में थिंक टू कीप देयर मनी विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया आल्सो, सिंस आरबीआई इज प्रोवाइडिंग अ वेरी गुड इंटरेस्ट रेट, ठीक है, ऑन द मनी दैट विल बी डिपॉजिटेड बाय द कमर्शियल बैंक्स, ऑल्सो ऑल्टरनेटिवली दे कैन गिव इट टू द पब्लिक, जहाँ पे वो 7-8% पे दे सकते हो, दैट इज अप टू द चॉइस ऑफ द कमर्शियल बैंक्स, वो कहाँ पर रखना चाहते हैं, बट अल्टीमेटली यहाँ पे अगर हायर इंटरेस्ट रेट्स आएगा तो बेसिकली क्या होगा, रेपो रेट अगर हायर है इकोनॉमी में, विच मींस कि बैंक्स विल बी मोटिवेटेड टू कीप देयर मनी विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, बिकॉज कीपिंग मनी विद द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया इज अ कंप्लीटली सेफ ऑप्शन, वहां पर डिफॉल्ट का ऑप्शन नहीं है, बट व्हेन दे गिव मनी टू द पब्लिक, ठीक है, उसमें क्या होगा, उसमें देयर इज अ प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ डिफॉल्ट, ठीक है, एनपीए हो सकता है वो, सो अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्क इन्वॉल्व in giving loan to the public, right? But when they keep the money, when they give the money to the Reserve Bank of India, when they deposit their money with the Reserve Bank of India, so their money is completely safe, उसके लिए कोई इशू नहीं, भले 1-2% इंटरेस्ट रेट्स कम मिल रहे हैं, but the thing is their money is completely safe, right? So that is why option number D is the answer. A high reverse repo rate is the interest rate at which the RBI borrows money from commercial banks. When the reverse repo rate is high, it provides banks with an attractive low risk option to earn returns on their excess funds by depositing them with the RBI. This is considered a safe investment because it involves lending to the central bank, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे when you are depositing money with the central bank, तो वहाँ पे completely safe है, वहाँ पे कोई issue नहीं है. However, banks also have option to lend money to borrowers such as businesses and individuals at a higher interest rate than the reverse repo rate. This would potentially provide banks with a higher returns, though it comes with higher risk compared to the virtually free risk-free return from the Reserve Bank of India. क्वेश्चन नंबर 7th इज व्हाट इज द स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी रेट, बताइए व्हाट इज द स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी रेट, एसडीएफ रेट. So options are the rate at which the RBI lends money to commercial banks without collateral, the rate at which the Reserve Bank accepts uncollateralized deposit from all LAF participants on an overnight basis, the rate at which commercial banks accept uncollateralized deposit from the public, the rate at which the Reserve Bank provide long-term loans to the government, or none of the above. क्या मतलब बताइए, स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी क्या मीनिंग है, डू लेट मी नो. So right answer would be option number B, that is the rate at which the RBI accepts uncollateralized deposit from all LAF participants on an overnight basis. So what happens under the SDF? Basically, this is the Reserve Bank of India, right? And this is the Punjab National Bank. So what is happening here, whenever Punjab National Bank is having surplus funds, what they can do, they can simply deposit their money with the Reserve Bank of India for having the interest, right? So यहाँ पे basically interest मिल जाएगा इनको. Reverse repo also, yes, I have told the same thing, but the only difference is that under the reverse repo operation there is a involvement of collateralized deposit, but under the HDF, that is standing deposit facility, no collateralized deposits is basically there, right? So that is why it is written here, the rate at which the Reserve Bank of India accepts uncollateralized deposits. So under this process of standing deposit facility, RBI will not keep anything as a collateral. ठीक है जी. So यहाँ पे सिंपली एक तरफ से यहाँ पे पैसा डिपॉजिट हो रहा है, यहाँ पे RBI is providing the loan. So standing deposit facility rate is a monetary policy tool used by the RBI. Under the SDF, the RBI accepts deposit from banks and other participants of the liquidity adjustment facility without requiring any collateral. These deposits are made on an overnight basis, meaning they are held for one night and returned the next day. Moving on to the question number 8th, where is the standing deposit facility rate placed in relation to the policy repo rate? अगर हम बात करें पॉलिसी रेपो रेट की, तो पॉलिसी रेपो रेट के रिलेशन में एसडीएफ को कहां पर प्लेस किया जाता है? ऑप्शंस आर 25 बेसिस पॉइंट्स अबव द पॉलिसी रेपो रेट, 50 बेसिस पॉइंट्स बिलो द पॉलिसी रेपो रेट, एट द सेम लेवल एज द पॉलिसी रेपो रेट, 25 basis points below the policy repo rate, and 50 basis points above the policy repo rate. Friends, I would love if you participate in the session, so do let me know the right answer in the live chat box. ठीक है, तभी मजा आएगा यहाँ पर. So ये तो बस वन साइडेड हो गया, ठीक है. I want interaction in the session itself, so हम इसको और इंटरेक्टिव बना सके और engaging बना सके. So यहाँ पे लाइव चैट बॉक्स में बताइए guys, what do you think? गलतियां करने से मत डरिए, do commit mistakes. कोई गलती नहीं है उसमें अगर आप मिस्टेक्स कमिट कर रहे हैं तो। So right answer would be option number D, that is 25 basis points below the policy repo rate. So SDF, that is the standing deposit facility rate, in relation to the policy repo rate is placed 25 basis points below the policy repo rate. For example, if policy repo rate is 6%, so SDF will be placed at 5.75% automatically. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे RBI will not change SDF rate separately. Once RBI is changing the repo rate, so it will get automatically changed by 25 basis points below the policy repo rate. So SDF rate is a monetary policy tool used by the Reserve Bank of India. It is specifically set at a level that is 25 basis points, 0.25 percentage points below the policy repo rate. The placement of the SDF rate below the policy repo rate encourages banks to either park their excess funds with the RBI at the SDF rate, or to lend in the interbank market at a rate higher than the SDF rate but lower than the repo rate. This helps in managing liquidity and ensuring stability in the short term interest rates. ठीक है जी। क्वेश्चन नंबर 9 की तरफ बढ़ते हैं। व्हाट डिड द स्टैंडिंग डिपॉजिट फैसिलिटी रिप्लेस when it was introduced in April 2022? बताइए। So when it was introduced, SDF, when it was introduced in 2022, so which of the following it has replaced, right? So options are the policy repo rate, the marginal standing facility rate, the fixed reverse repo, the cash reserve ratio or the statutory liquidity ratio. किसको रिप्लेस किया है यहाँ पर SDF ने? Do let me know friends. बताइए guys, I'm waiting for your reply. What did the SDF replace when it was introduced in April 2022? So it replaced द फिक्स्ड रिवर्स रेपो रेट। ठीक है, इसने फिक्स्ड रिवर्स रेपो रेट को यहाँ पर रिप्लेस किया है गाइस। तो ये आपको याद रखना है, बिकॉज इफ यू सी वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड कि व्हाट आर द स्टेप्स इन्वॉल्वड इन द रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन एज वेल एज इन द एसडीएफ ऑपरेशन। ठीक है, दोनों में लगभग सेम है, एक्सेप्ट द वन डिफरेंस दैट इज अंडर द रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन बेसिकली कोलेटरलाइज्ड डिपॉजिट इज इन्वॉल्वड। ठीक है, बट यहाँ पे अंडर द एसडीएफ नो कोलेटरलाइज्ड डिपॉजिट इन्वॉल्व। ठीक है, सो दैट इज वाई इट रिप्लेस्ड द फिक्स्ड रिवर्स रेपो रेट। ठीक है, so this you have to remember. Question number 9 की explanation you can see the SDF replaced the fixed reverse repo rate as the floor of the LAF corridor, making it to the new benchmark for the lowest interest rate available to banks for overnight deposit with the Reserve Bank of India. Question number 10, how do the liquidity adjustment facility components manage inflation and economic growth? बताइए, हाउ डू लिक्विडिटी एडजस्टमेंट फैसिलिटी कंपोनेंट्स मैनेज इन्फ्लेशन एंड इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ? ऑप्शंस आर द एचडीएफ एंड रेपो रेट आर यूज्ड टू मैनेज इन्फ्लेशन बाय इंक्रीजिंग द मनी सप्लाई व्हाइल द एमएसएफ इज यूज्ड टू कंट्रोल इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ। द एचडीएफ रिड्यूसेस द मनी सप्लाई टू कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन व्हाइल द रेपो रेट एंड द एमएसएफ इंक्रीज द मनी सप्लाई टू स्टिमुलेट इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ। The SDF is used to increase the money supply while the repo rate and MSF are used to reduce the money supply. The repo rate reduces the money supply while the MSF and SDF are used to manage economic growth through increased liquidity. And then the SDF and MSF both reduce the money supply while the repo rate is used to manage inflation by increasing the money supply. So what is the right answer according to you? So right answer would be option number B, that is SDF reduces the money supply to control inflation. Why? Because under the SDF the flow of cash is from the commercial banks to the Reserve Bank of India, so there is an absorption of liquidity, while the repo rate and MSF increases the money supply to stimulate economic growth. ठीक है, तो MSF in the MSF as well as in the repo operation, यहाँ पे flow of fund is from the commercial bank to the from the Reserve Bank of India to the commercial bank, right? तो यहाँ पे basically क्या हो रहा है, यहाँ पे money supply is increasing in the economy and that boost to the economic growth, right? So here you can read also standing deposit facility हमने discuss कर लिया है यहाँ पे, that the facility allows banks to deposit surplus funds with the RBI at the SDF rate. बात करें रेपो रेट की, so lowering the repo rate increases the money supply which can stimulate economic growth by making borrowing cheaper for banks and consequently for businesses and consumers. And MSF की बात करें, so MSF provides overnight liquidity to banks at a rate higher than the repo rate. It acts as a safety net for banks needing emergency funds. By allowing banks to borrow at the MSF rate, the RBI can increase liquidity in the banking system, support economic growth and stability. Got it? चलिए, moving on to the question number 11, that is, if banks need greater liquidity than what is available through the repo mechanism, which facility can they utilize to get additional funds from the Reserve Bank of India? So suppose if suppose if commercial bank has exhausted the repo limit, right, and in that case it further needs additional funds, so which facility they can avail? So options are open market operation, cash reserve ratio, SLR, marginal standing facility, or reverse repo rate. So in case of additional funds, which of the following facility banks can avail? बताइए guys. So right answer would be option number D here, that is marginal standing facility. So once a bank has exhausted their repo limit, so what if and further they need additional funds, so they can avail the marginal standing facility. This facility they can avail basically, so under this facility they can get additional funds, but for that they have to pay higher interest rates as well. ठीक है, तो उनको higher interest rates भी pay करना पड़ेगा, additional funds तो उनको मिल जाएंगे. So MSF allows banks to borrow additional funds from the RBI at higher interest rate. I told you कि there is an involvement of higher interest rate because one limit you have already exhausted. Now you are looking for additional funds, so you have to pay the higher interest rate, right? So helping them manage short-term liquidity needs. Question number 12 is the marginal standing facility is a scheme announced by the RBI in its monetary policy 2011-12. What does the MSF refer to? Options are the regular rate at which banks can borrow money from the RBI through the repo mechanism, the rate at which banks can deposit their surplus funds with the RBI, the penal rate at which banks can borrow money from the RBI over and above what is available through the LA window, the rate at which the RBI buys government securities from banks, and the rate at which banks lend to each other overnight. अभी हमने डिस्कस किया गाइस, डू लेट मी नो व्हाट डू यू थिंक व्हाट कैन बी द राइट आंसर हियर. सो राइट आंसर इज ऑप्शन नंबर सी, दैट इज द penal rate at which banks can borrow money from the RBI over and above what is available through the LAF window, right? So this is a kind of additional fund that they are looking for, and for that additional fund they have to pay higher interest rate, right? And that is why option number C would be the right answer here. So marginal standing facility was introduced by RBI in its monetary policy 2011-12 as a measure to help banks manage liquidity. The MSF allows banks to borrow funds from the central bank at a penal rate which is higher than the regular repo rate. The facility is intended for emergency situation when banks need funds beyond what is available through the LAF window. The MSF helps maintain stability in the banking system by providing an additional source of liquidity during times of stress. Question number 13 is which of the following statement correctly describes the marginal standing facility in relation to the repo rate and borrowing options for banks? बताइए. So options are MSF is fixed below the repo rate and is used before the liquidity adjustment facility. MSF is fixed at the same rate as the repo rate and is used after the liquidity adjustment facility. MSF is fixed above the repo rate and is the last resort for banks once all other borrowing options are exhausted, including the LAF. MSF is unrelated to the repo rate and is used for daily banking operations, or MSF is a facility that allows bank to lend money to the RBI at a higher rate than the repo rate. What can be the right answer here, guys? We are talking about the रिलेशन ऑफ एमएसएफ विद द रेपो रेट. ठीक है, रेपो रेट के रिलेशन में एमएसएफ का क्या रोल है बेसिकली वो हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. So right answer is option number C, that is MSF is fixed above the repo rate and is the last resort for the banks once all other borrowings options are exhausted. तो मैंने आपसे बताया कि once the commercial banks have exhausted all their facility, all their mechanism to avail the funds from the Reserve Bank of India, they can further have additional funds from the Reserve Bank of India through the mechanism of marginal standing facility, right? So that is why it can be said as a basically last resort for the banks. But the important thing is that they have to pay the higher interest rate as a part of this MSF. ठीक है, क्योंकि उन्होंने पहली सारी लिमिट एग्जॉस्ट कर दी है. फर्दर इफ दे नीड एडिशनल फंड्स, फॉर दैट एडिशनल फंड्स बैंक्स हैव टू पे द हायर इंटरेस्ट रेट्स, एंड दैट इज व्हाई ऑप्शन नंबर सी इज द आंसर. The marginal standing facility is a penal rate set above the repo rate designed as a last resort borrowing option for banks. When banks face a liquidity crunch and have exhausted all other borrowing options, including the liquidity adjustment facility, they can turn to the MSF. By pledging government securities, bank banks can borrow funds at a higher rate than what is offered under the LAF. The MSF helps ensure that banks have a safety net for managing extreme short-term liquidity shortages, maintaining stability in the financial system. Question number 14th is, which of the following statement correctly describes the position of the MSF in the interest rate corridor set by the RBI? ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे MSF की पोजीशन क्या होगी बताइए. अब गाइज आप यहाँ पे ना बेसिकली लॉजिक लगा के कर सकते हैं. इतना डिस्कशन हमने कर लिया था कि यहाँ पे आप सिंपली लॉजिक के साथ यहाँ पे चीजों को रिजॉल्व कर सकते हो. सो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द पोजिशनिंग ऑफ द MSF इन द इंटरेस्ट रेट कॉरिडोर सेट बाय द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया. So options are, MSF represents the lower band of the interest corridor with the repo rate at the middle and the SDF as the upper band. MSF represents the upper band of the interest corridor with the repo rate at the middle and SDF as the lower band. MSF represents the middle band of the interest corridor with repo rate as the upper band and SDF as the lower band. MSF is not part of the interest corridor and is independent of the repo rate and standing deposit facility. MSF represents both the upper and the lower bands of the interest corridor with the repo rate at the middle. बताइए friends, what do you think here? We are talking about the positioning of the marginal standing facility in the interest rate corridor set by the Reserve Bank of India. So right answer would be option number B here, that is MSF represents the upper band of the interest corridor with the repo rate at the middle and the standing deposit facility as the lower band. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे होता क्या, यहाँ पे repo rate होता है, ठीक है, उसके नीचे होता है SDF एंड देन उसके ऊपर होता है मार्जिनल स्टैंडिंग फैसिलिटी. तो ये बेसिकली यहाँ पे ये अपर बेसिकली अपर लिमिट बताता है, दिस टेल्स द लोअर लिमिट, और ये बेसिकली रेपो रेट इज इन द मिडिल. यहाँ पे यू कैन रीड द एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑल्सो. द मार्जिनल स्टैंडिंग फैसिलिटी इज अ क्रिटिकल कॉम्पोनेंट ऑफ द interest rate corridor established by the RBI. It represents the upper band, ठीक है, upper band of the corridor, which is a range within which the override interest rates move. The repo rate which is the rate at which banks borrow from the RBI by pledging securities is positioned in the middle of the corridor. The standing deposit facility, which allows banks to deposit excess funds with the RBI, represents the lower band of the corridor, and this structure helps the RBI manage short-term interest rates and ensure यहाँ पे liquidity in the banking system. Moving on to the question number 15th, what is the primary effect of the marginal standing facility on the money supply in the economy? बताइए marginal standing facility का जो यहाँ पे बात करें primary effect क्या होता है money supply का economy में. So options are, it directly decreases the money supply by withdrawing funds from the banking system. It directly increases the money supply by injecting funds into the banking system at a lower interest rate. It indirectly affects the money supply by borrowing, providing banks with emergency funds at a higher interest rate, ensuring they can meet their liquidity needs without disrupting the overall money supply. It has no effect on the money supply as it only affects the interest rates charged by the banks, and it sets the lower limit of the money supply by determining the minimum reserve banks must hold. So what is the primary effect of MSF on the money supply in the economy, guys? बताइए. Do let me know, guys. So right answer would be option number C here, that is it indirectly affects the money supply by providing banks with emergency fund. देखिए यहाँ पे money supply की जो basically marginal standing facility का यहाँ पे जो use है वो कैसे कर रहे हैं बैंक additional funds के लिए in the case of emergency, right? So that is why it indirectly affects the money supply by providing banks with emergency funds. Though funds are being provided to the banks, ठीक है, emergency के basis पर उन्हें यहाँ पे funds provide किए जा रहे हैं at a higher interest rate, ensuring they can meet their liquidity needs without disrupting the overall money supply. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे उनकी जो इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन उसको रिजॉल्व करने के लिए फंड्स आर बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड. तो यहाँ पे बेसिकली ये एक्सपेक्टेड है कि यहाँ पे ओवरऑल मनी सप्लाई में कोई भी डिसरप्शन यहाँ पे नहीं आएगा, एंड दैट इज व्हाई ऑप्शन नंबर सी इज द राइट आंसर है. ठीक है जी. Explanation, you can read: the margin standing facility indirectly influences the money supply by providing the banks with a source of emergency liquidity at a higher interest rates. This facility ensures that banks can access funds during period of short-term liquidity shortages, allowing them to meet their obligations and continue lending operations. By acting as a safety net, the MSF helps maintain stability in the banking system and prevents disruptions in the money supply. Although it does not directly increase or decrease the money supply, the availability of the MSF can influence banks' lending behaviors and liquidity management, thereby affecting the overall money supply in the economy. Got it? चलिए क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 की तरफ बढ़ते हैं. द बैंक रेट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग? रेपो रेट, लिक्विडिटी एडजस्टमेंट फैसिलिटी, मार्जिनल स्टैंडिंग फैसिलिटी रेट, डिस्काउंट रेट और द रिवर्स रेपो रेट. डू लेट मी नो फ्रेंड्स. बैंक रेट को और हम किस नाम से जानते हैं यहाँ पे? सो द राइट आंसर इज ऑप्शन नंबर डी हियर, दैट इज डिस्काउंट रेट. तो हम डिस्काउंट रेट के नाम से भी जानते हैं बैंक रेट को, राइट? तो बैंक रेट को हम डिस्काउंट रेट के नाम से भी जानते हैं. बैंक रेट ऑल्सो नोन एज द डिस्काउंट रेट इज द रेट एट विच द सेंट्रल बैंक इज विलिंग टू बाय और री डिस्काउंट बिल्स ऑफ एक्सचेंज एंड अदर कमर्शियल पेपर्स. दिस रेट इज क्रूशियल फॉर इन्फ्लुएंसिंग बोरोइंग कॉस्ट एंड इंप्लीमेंटिंग मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. इसको मैं समझाता हूं आपको नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन में, इस वाले क्वेश्चन में, राइट? द टर्म बैंक रेट ऑल्सो रेफर टू एज द डिस्काउंट रेट रेफर्स टू विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग? ऑप्शंस आर: द रेट एट विच द सेंट्रल बैंक लेंड्स मनी टू द जनरल पब्लिक, द रेट एट विच कमर्शियल बैंक्स लेंड टू ईच अदर ओवरनाइट, द रेट एट विच द रिजर्व बैंक इज रेडी टू बाय और री डिस्काउंट बिल ऑफ एक्सचेंज और अदर कमर्शियल पेपर्स, द रेट एट विच कमर्शियल बैंक्स लेंड टू देयर मोस्ट क्रेडिट वर्दी कस्टमर्स, और द रेट एट विच द सेंट्रल बैंक लेंड्स मनी टू कमर्शियल बैंक्स विदाउट एनी कोलेट्रल. बताइए गाइस, यहाँ पे बैंक रेट का क्या मतलब है? नाउ वी विल डिस्कस व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ बैंक रेट. So right answer would be option number C, that is the rate at which the Reserve Bank is ready to buy or re-discount bill of exchange or other commercial papers. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे if I tell you the example, तो मान लीजिए यहाँ पे एक शॉपकीपर है मिस्टर ए, ठीक है, and there is a customer मिस्टर बी. So Mr. B is purchasing basically 1000 packet of Parle-G, ठीक है, 1000 packet of Parle-G at the rate of 10 per packet. तो इसका मतलब इन्होंने 10,000 rupees के Parle-G Mr. B has purchased, right, from Mr. A. तो he is a shopkeeper, A is a shopkeeper. But in return, he is not giving the money. Mr. B is not giving the money to Mr. A, and he is saying that I will give money after some time. So he is giving a document, ठीक है, जिसमें लिखा हुआ है कि I will give the money within 30 days. ठीक है, 30 उन्होंने डेट बताया कि इस डेट को in 30 days I'll pay the money. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे transaction was of rupees 10,000. तो because he is a old customer, so Mr. A agrees कि ठीक है, there is no issue in that. But after 10 days, basically after 10 days, A is in urgent need of funds. So what A can do? A can go to the commercial bank, Punjab National Bank, right? He can go to the Punjab National Bank and he can present that bill, commercial bill that A has given, B has given to A. So A can give that particular commercial bill to the Punjab National Bank and he can ask for the money. Okay, this is the basically commercial bill and that will basically honored after 20 days because 10 days have already elapsed. So that will be honored by Mr. B after 10 days. So meanwhile you can keep it and you can give me the cash, right? So bank will, Punjab National Bank will say, okay, there is no issue in that. So what Punjab National Bank will do? Punjab National Bank will basically give him the 9,000 rupees, right? Why? Because 10% is the discount rate. 10% is the discount rate, right? So there is a commission involved of the Punjab National Bank as well. So Punjab National Bank, after accepting the commercial bill, it is providing 9,000 rupees to Mr. A, right? And because bill has to be honored, after 20 days, right? उसके बाद क्या हुआ? After 10 days इनको भी requirement पड़ गई. तो what they can do? They can go to the Reserve Bank of India and they can say कि basically this is the commercial bill that is kept with me and that will be honored after 10 days क्योंकि 20 days have already elapsed. So meanwhile I am in the urgent need of the funds, so you can take this and you can give me the money. So RBI will take this and RBI will provide them 9,500 rupees. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे 5% charge RBI will take. So this is the basically rediscounting. तो यहाँ पे बार बार discounting हो रही है. Number first here you can see the discounting, then it is a rediscounting and that is why इसको हम बोल रहे हैं bank rate is a discount rate. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे you can see the bank rate is also known as the discount rate, is the rate at which the central bank such as the RBI is willing to buy or rediscount bills. ठीक है, यहाँ पर rediscounting हो रही है. ठीक है, एक बार discounting पहले हो चुकी, now rediscounting यहाँ पर हो रही है. and other commercial papers from the commercial banks. This rate influences the cost of borrowings for banks, which in turn affects the interest rate they offer to customers. By adjusting the bank rate, the central bank can control the money supply in the economy, influence inflation, and ensure economic stability. This tool is essential for implementing monetary policy and managing overall financial conditions. ठीक है जी, क्वेश्चन नंबर 18 देखते हैं. हाउ डज द अलाइनमेंट ऑफ द बैंक रेट विद द एमएसएफ रेट अफेक्ट इट्स चेंजेस. ठीक है, बैंक रेट का अलाइनमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं हम एमएसएफ के साथ, तो बताइए क्या है. So options are: the bank rate changes independently of the MSF rate and policy repo rate changes. The bank rate is aligned with the MSF rate but does not automatically adjust with the changes in the policy repo rate. The bank rate has been aligned with the MSF rate and therefore changes automatically in accordance with the MSF rate and policy repo rate changes. The bank rate is fixed and does not change even if the MSF rate and policy repo rate change. The bank rate is adjusted based on the interest rates of the commercial banks rather than the MSF rate or policy repo rate. Do let me know, guys. We are talking about the alignment of bank rate with the MSF. So right answer would be option number C here. That is, the bank rate has been aligned with the MSF rate and therefore changes automatically in accordance with the MSF rate and the policy repo rate. Right. So we have discussed कि यहाँ पे मिडिल में क्या होता है. मिडिल में there is a repo rate. ठीक है, रेपो रेट होता है यहाँ पर मिडिल में. ठीक है, उसके यहाँ नीचे होता है SDF, उसके ऊपर होता है यहाँ पे MSF और उसी MSF से बेसिकली अलाइंड होता है बैंक रेट. ठीक है, तो व्हेनेवर आरबीआई चेंजेस, आरबीआई हर रेट्स को अलग अलग चेंज नहीं करती. ठीक है, तो आरबीआई क्या करती है, आरबीआई चेंजेस द रेपो रेट. सो वंस आरबीआई चेंजेस द रेपो रेट, सो ऑटोमेटिकली 25 बेसिस पॉइंट्स ये ज्यादा रहता है, 25 बेसिस पॉइंट्स से कम रहता है, ये दे गेट्स ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज, दे गेट ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज एंड फर्दर इसको देखकर इसी रेट पर बैंक रेट भी, तो बैंक रेट और एमएसएफ जो होते हैं वो आपस में अलाइंड हो जाते हैं. राइट, सो आरबीआई डज नॉट नीड टू चेंज एवरी रेट एवरी टाइम, दे जस्ट चेंज द रेपो रेट एंड ऑटोमेटिकली ऑल द रेट्स गेट बेसिकली चेंज. ठीक है, according to the system that RBI has set. So यहाँ पे that is the option number C is the right answer. The bank rate is aligned with the MSF rate, meaning that any change in the MSF rate automatically lead to corresponding changes in the bank rate. Since the MSF rate is influenced by the policy repo rate, adjustment in the policy repo rate also affect the MSF rate and consequently the bank rate. ठीक है, तो इस तरीके से पहले रेपो रेट में चेंज होता है, देन MSF में चेंज होता है, देन बैंक रेट में ऑटोमेटिकली अलाइन होकर चेंज हो जाता है. दिस अलाइनमेंट इंश्योर्स दैट द बैंक रेट रिमेन्स इन अ सिंक विथ ब्रॉडर मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी चेंजेस and maintains consistency in monetary policy implementation. Moving ahead to the question number 19th. Question number 19th is, which of the following best describes the role of open market operations conducted by the Reserve Bank of India? Options are: OMOs include the borrowing and lending of money by banks to each other to manage short-term liquidity. OMO involve the central bank setting the interest rates for commercial banks to control inflation. OMOs include both outright purchase and sale of government securities by the RBI used for injecting and absorbing durable liquidity respectively. OMOs involve the central bank providing emergency funds to banks in distress, and OMO are limited to the regulation of the reserve requirement for commercial banks. So right answer would be option number C, that is, OMOs include both outright purchase and sale of government securities by the RBI used for injecting and absorbing durable liquidity. ठीक है, तो होता क्या है, जब भी यहाँ पे आरबीआई को लगता है कि यहाँ पे इकोनॉमी में लिक्विडिटी को ज्यादा करना है या कम करना है, सो आरबीआई कैन यूज द ओपन मार्केट ऑपरेशन टूल एज वेल. ठीक है, तो ओपन मार्केट ऑपरेशन में क्या होता है, आइदर आरबीआई परचेजेस द गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी और आरबीआई सेल्स द गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटी बेस्ड ऑन द रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है. इफ आरबीआई वांट्स to increase the liquidity in the economy, so RBI will, what RBI will do, RBI will purchase the government securities, and if RBI want to absorb the liquidity, then RBI will sell the government security. Right, so this is the basically option number C. So OMOs are a key monetary policy tool used by the RBI. OMOs involve the outright purchase and sale of government securities. When the RBI wants to inject durable liquidity into the banking system, it buys government securities, which increases the amount of money available to banks for lending and other purposes. Conversely, when the RBI wants to absorb excess liquidity to prevent overheating in the economy or control inflation, it sells government securities, ठीक है, which withdraws money from the banking system. This mechanism helps the RBI manage to overall money supply and achieve its monetary policy objectives. Last question, what is the effect of the RBI purchasing securities on the economy as a part of OMO? We have already discussed. So options are, it reduces the money supply and decreases demand in the economy. It increases the money supply leading to more demand and potentially higher economic growth. Then it stabilizes the money supply without affecting demand or economic growth. It only affects the interest rates without altering the overall money supply, or it leads to decrease in economic growth by withdrawing money from the market. We are talking about the effect of RBI purchasing securities as a part of open market operation. So right answer would be option number B, that is it increases the money supply leading to more demand and potentially higher economic growth. आप जब भी कोई चीज परचेज करते हैं बदले में आप पैसे देते रहे, तो similarly when RBI is purchasing government securities as a part of open market operation, so RBI will give money in return, so that money will be into the banking system, which means money supply will increase in the economy, and when money supply is increasing in the economy, then that will lead to the lower interest rates because banks are having excess funds, and if they want to give all their funds to the public, there has to be they have to basically reduce the interest rate. When interest rates are down in the economy, then everyone would want to fulfill their dreams of purchasing car, house, iPhone, bike, right? So demand will increase in the economy. When demand will increase, so that will lead to the increase in the production of the increase of the production in the economy, and that will ultimately lead to the increase in GDP or the economic growth, and that is why option number B would be the right answer here, right? So when the RBI purchases securities, it injects money into the economy. This action increases the money supply as the RBI gives money to sellers of the securities. With more money available in the economy, banks have more funds to lend, which can lead to increased consumer and business spending. This rise in demand can contribute to higher economic growth. By purchasing securities, the RBI aims to stimulate economic activity and manage liquidity in the market, thereby supporting overall economic growth. ठीक है जी. Now, this is the achievers question, guys. You know the rule of achievers question. You have to give the answer of this question in the comment box, not in the live chat box. So those who would be giving the right answer of this achievers question, their name would be displayed in the upcoming session. Okay. So question is, what is the effect of the RBI selling securities on the economy? So we have seen the effect of RBI purchasing the government securities as a part of open market operation. Now we are discussing about the effect of RBI selling securities on the economy. So it increases the money supply, leading to more demand and higher prices. It decreases the money supply, leading to less demand and potentially lowering prices. It stabilizes the money supply without affecting demand for prices. It only affects interest rate without altering the overall money supply, or it increases the demand for money, leading to higher economic growth. So guys, the answer of this question you have to mention in the comment box, and those who are giving the right answer, their name would be displayed in the next session, right? So thank you very much. This is all with respect to today's discussion. I hope you have enjoyed the discussion, guys, and we have launched this course, that is foundation course for our upcoming RBI Grade B 2025 examination. That is the Lakshya batch. As a part of Lakshya batch, you will get n number of things, like for example extensive live classes, you will get notes, you will get MCQs, interview guidance program, one-on-one mentorship, descriptive writing component, and whatnot. So here things will be covered from very scratch. So irrespective of your background, you may be from commerce background, you might be from arts background, but that does not matter at all, believe me. And also there is no requirement of prior knowledge of any subject of the RBI Grade B examination, because as a part of this course, we are starting the things from very scratch, focusing on foundation building first, and then we will take you to the requirement of the examination. So along with the preparation of the examination, here you have to focus on knowledge enrichment as well, and this is the core focus of this particular course. So this can be one of the best course for the upcoming RBI Grade B 2025 examination. So guys, you can check the link given in the description. Description में link दिया हुआ, you can just click on the link and you can see all the deliverables with respect to this particular foundation course, right? So guys, यहाँ पे in order to apply the course, you can use the coupon code Prakash. This is my name, and that will also work as a coupon code. So when you apply the course coupon code Prakash, so you can see a drastic discounts on the final prices, and you can get better pricing, and that will make course more affordable for you, right? Similarly, you have to join this Telegram group also. So Telegram group को join करने के बाद, if you have any query, your query will get resolved in the group itself. So just have to post your query in the group, and I'll personally be resolving your query. ठीक है जी. So use the coupon code, link is given in the description, and also in the link we are providing with the Google form. So if you have any doubt, चाहे छोटा हो चाहे बड़ा doubt हो, you just fill the Google form. Our team will get back to you to resolve all your doubts. So this is all with respect to this class, guys. I hope आपने enjoy किया, guys. You have learned something new. So we'll meet in another class. Till then, goodbye and happy learning, and do not forget to attempt the achiever question.